everyone, Sirturmund here again, and today I'm back from the hotel. Scuffed Hotel Sirturmund is back just in time for the new Legends of Runeterra expansion. Now, over the last weekend, so on Friday, we did get a new champion reveal, which is Lilia, and today Riot reveal all the other new cards that are coming out with the expansion. So today's video is going to be first a review reaction on Lilia, kind of similar to how we did a review reaction for Lutz and Bets last week, and then we also going to spend some time later on in the video kind of just reacting to the new cars, which I actually haven't seen them. I kind of saved myself just for you guys. I came back from work, started setting up my setup here in the hotel. So let's see how this works. Now, I do have my very old headset. Some of you guys might remember this from back when I started making YouTube videos. So the sound is still not the best, but it's still better than what it was last time we did the Scuff Hotel Sirturmund stream. But of course, I always forget something. I forgot my mouse. So I'm using like the freaking mouse pad on the laptop, and I always hate doing that. Like not having a mouse kind of annoys me so much. But anyways, enough about that. Let's talk about Lilia. So,
Close your eyes and dream with me.
all right. Okay, I don't care about Path of Champion stuff. All right.
Hope takes root.
So, Lilia. It's a 3-mana Ionia. Okay, so we get an Ionia champion. Lilia, 3-mana Ionia, has quick attack and spirit. Spirit, the unit just gets +1/+1, and Spirit can be stacked up. So that's what Lutz archetype does, that she just stacks up Spirit over and over and over again. So when I'm summoned or when I strike, create a Dream Laden bow in hand, or if you have one, reduce its cost by 1. So it's not the first time we see kind of like a champion ability like this, right? Where we kind of you summon or when you strike, create something in your hand, right? That gets discounted if you already have it. So this is not anything new. So obviously for us to know what she can do, we have to see what this card does. And she levels up when you have summoned 15 plus allies or landmarks. And this is kind of cool because this level up is very general, which means that regardless of what Lilia's, I guess, archetype and package brings to the table, you can probably level up Lilia a lot of different ways. Uh, just by cards we already have in the game, right? It doesn't require
Hope takes root.
like it's not something like Lutz where you have to have a spirit, right? So here's the spell that you get from Lilia. Dream Laden Vow. It's a 2-mana slow speed spell, sleep an ally. So then we get a new keyword here, which is sleep, or a new vocabulary, I guess. You obliterate a unit. It says unit, so it could be your ally or your opponent, and recall its attachments to store an exact copy in a landmark for 1 round. Huh. So it's like a pseudo protection kinda, right? Or a pseudo removal. You obliterate a unit, you recall the attachment, so you're not really like fully obliterating because usually when you obliterate something, you obliterate the attachment as well. So this time you're kind of recalling the attachments. So you can't get rid of like I guess Yumi is no longer in standard, but let's say that Yumi was in standard, you can't get rid of a Yumi this way. You get to store an exact copy, so whatever stats that card has, it keeps after the attachment gets recalled as a landmark. So you use this, let's say you use this, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a random, something that has like a summon effect. What's something powerful that has like a summon effect? Oh, why am I blanking out? I'm blanking out. Oh my goodness. Think of like, I don't know, whatever. Think of like the, oh, you know what? Oh, man, there's a new card that was released with the variety set last patch, right? The Ionia one, the 2-mana Ionia one, that's a 2-mana 1/1 that when you summon it, it summons like an exact copy of itself. That's a perfect example for this, and that's literally probably a Lilia support unit from the start. So let's say you use this on that unit, then on the next turn, when it gets summoned, it literally is gonna resummon itself and also summon a copy of itself again, right? Like you're able to kind of double dip on a lot of like on summon values, and because this summons a landmark that then also summons a unit, this ends up counting like 2 towards the Lilia level up. Cool mechanic here. At 2 mana, it is kind of expensive, and it is low speed.
People run right to
Yeah, so
sleep.
here you go. See, it transforms into a landmark. And then on the next turn, because he has countdown one, it gets resummoned, right?
Sing to me of making
Obviously,
those
the danger
dreams
here
far
is that because
away.
it's a landmark, it's
Mother
susceptible to
and
landmark
daughter.
removal. So if the opponent has landmark removal, they can kill your unit. The cool part here is that because it's a landmark, imagine you play this and then a Talia. Well, that's an interesting level animation. Huh. That's an interesting level animation. Okay, I feel like the Lutz and Vets level animations are a lot better. Lilia, eh. When a summoner strikes, so she still keeps the same thing. It still has the quick. When you sleep another ally, you immediately wake it up and grant the spirit. Okay, okay, okay. So now you still get the Dream Laden, right? But as soon as you sleep your allies, you immediately wake it up. So again, this is how you start kind of stacking this unsummoned effects, right? And you grant the spirit as well, so you end up getting like that +1/+1. Now, what I was gonna say before her level up kind of showcase is that what this makes me think about is like think of like Talia and Lilia, right? Like you get to just like sleep one of your allies and then summon it and then copy that landmark with Talia, and now all of a sudden you have two copies of the ally. That's kind of cool actually. But the level of Lilia actually makes it so that you cannot do that with Talia because when you sleep at your ally, it wakes up right away. So it's like the level of Lilia has anti synergy with Talia, while the level one Lilia does have synergy with Talia. But anyways, I think it's an interesting it's an interesting setup here, right? She doesn't do anything too crazy in the level up. I guess because the thing is that she's only creating this when she strikes or when she summons, right? Uh, and you're only really striking when you attack with her. You're not gonna block with her because she only has 2 health. I guess she has spirit, so technically she has 3 health, and you can stack all this. But it still seems really hard to get a lot of a lot of these Dream Laden burrows. But I'm sure there's gonna be other ways to sleep your own allies. So it still ends up kind of like working out where you can just sleep other stuff, right? Yeah, like see here we have like a yep. Oh no, these are recall. That was just straight up a recall. All right, all right. So that's the Lilia, and then we get all the cards here. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just go and switch to the picture so that we can actually see the cards a little bit better and I can zoom in as necessary. So let's talk about the actual Lilia package, right? So again, here's the cards that we release as kind of like support cards for Lilia. So we talked about Lilia already, and we have the Dream Latin. I'm gonna continue mispronouncing this. I'm just gonna say Bo, whatever. It's not really Bo, but yeah, you guys are used to my accent and me mispronouncing things. It's fine. Then we have the Lilia Champion spell, which is also gonna be a card because it's an Ionian card, and this is a 3 mana fast speed spell. You sleep a unit, so that's what I was talking about. We are gonna have other ways to sleep our own allies, which again will synergize with Lilia, allow her to level up or get double the value if you get like a double summon effect of something. So you sleep a unit, doesn't matter if it's an opponent or your ally, and that's it. So it's a 3 mana sleep. That's kind of expensive for something that doesn't like remove an opponent's units for more than just one turn. I don't know how I feel about the blooming, but I think that's interesting. Again, I think it is a little bit expensive, so I'm not sure how I feel about it. So we'll kind of see how that ends up working out. Then we have a 2 mana story. So if you guys don't remember, story, you can like activate the landmark. The first time you activate it, you goes Act 1, and then the second time you activate it, you're gonna be Act 2. You can do it once per turn. So this is a 2 mana landmark from Ionia. The Dewdrop Harvest. The first one is you summon a spirit lens, and the spirit lens are the Ionia 1 man out. The Ionia 0/0 1 mana units that have spirit 2. So when they get summoned, they're really just gonna be a 2/2 unit, right? That has spirit. So you can continue stacking spirit onto them if necessary. So you summon spirit lens, and the second effect is you sleep an ally. So it's kind of like a way to sleep your own ally. This can actually be really cool. I think this landmark could actually be really useful if we think like sleeping our own allies. If we get a lot of value from sleeping our own allies, that should actually be really, really nice. Then we have the Pedal Pitsy, which is a 2 mana 1/1. When I summon Spirit Lens. So again, he kind of summons another one of those 2/2s. So this is a 2 body, right, for 2 mana. Eh, meh. I mean, It's whatever. Nothing super impressive, right? It's nothing. It's nothing that we haven't seen before. We have like Mirai Warden, which is two bodies for two mana. The fact that this is just a 1/1 though, I feel like makes it a little bit worse, right? Like I feel like this makes it a little bit worse compared to like other similar cards that are two mana summon under the unit. But I guess the power is that the sprite links are a little bit stronger, so we'll see how that actually works. Then we have the Sprite Mother, which is a 4 mana 2/1. That stat line sucks. When in summon, grant sprite links and Sprite Mothers everywhere a spirit. Okay, so now this makes sense. Now this explains why we have all these things that summon Sprite links, right? Because when you play the Sprite Mother on turn 4, she's gonna come down as a 3/2 because she gives herself spirit, right? She gives herself spirit because it says everywhere. It doesn't say all other sprite mothers. So she gives herself spirit. So she actually comes as a 3/2. But she grants spritlings everywhere spirit as well. So not just spritlings are coming down as a 3/3 unit. And here we have the first example of a card that we can really get value of with the sleep because this is a summon effect. So what you can do is that you can sleep your own sprite mother, and when she gets resummoned, she's gonna activate this effect again, giving herself and all of the spritlings another stack of spirit. Because remember, spirit can stack up over and over again. So this is actually kind of crazy. I actually think this card can be nuts, especially in this archetype that you can more or less easily resummon the sprite mother over and over again. So that's nasty. That's actually super nasty here. Um, Wow. Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. Okay. So then the other one is a 3 mana, another unit card, right? So Ophelis Gardener, play, fully heal an ally, then sleep it. Okay, so it's a 3 mana way to kind of sleep an ally. This is a skill, by the way, so it does go on the stack. So technically, your opponent could respond by like by killing the unit that you're trying to sleep, right? Like let's say that we have the sprite mother on the field and we play guarder the next turn and we try to sleep the sprite mother. Somebody could just mystic shot the sprite mother or something else to get rid of her before the sleep can actually go through. But it's still a decent card, I think. The fact that it's a 4 health unit, uh, and the fact that again you're also able to fully heal an ally. So if, for whatever reason, if that's actually cool, and sleeping it again, I think I like the effect of sleeping it, right? And then the last two are going to be Sprite Dance, which is 3 mana fast speed spell, recall an ally to grant all stacks of his spirit to another ally. So this is the one that we saw in the video. So you like recall your own ally and you give another ally all stacks of spirit. So this is kind of like a Ha, this is like a cheese strategy, right? Where you can make a unit really big, and then when the opponent chump blocks it, you just give all the spirit stacks to somebody else. So imagine like going against an elusive player that has one elusive unit, but also has like a really big spirit unit, and you think you're safe because you chump block that spirit unit, and then they just go, nope, I'm gonna transfer all the stats to the elusive unit, and you kind of screwed, right? Yeah. So I think this is a little bit too cheesy though, so I don't think it's gonna be useful. I only have one screen because I'm using my laptop, so I don't know if I'm blocking the text from Heart of the Tree. I kind of don't want to like if I go here, okay, I'm kind of blocking a little bit of it. But anyways, Heart of the Tree is the last card that we see from the Lilia package here. It's a 7 mana story card. So again, we talked about story. Uh, oh, you know what? I just realized something. See how this story one here has a slow speed? So this is a slow speed skill, right? Is what that looks like. While this one has the focus keyword. So this one happens at focus speed. That actually matters, right? Because I mean, like when you activate this, if this is a slow speed, you're giving the opponent a chance to react if they have something to react with. While here, this is just going to happen instantaneous, right? So now this landmark is kind of crazy because when you drop it on turn 7, you're only doing you're only doing the first one, right? So you're doing a 7 mana landmark that all you're doing is like act 1, heal your Nexus for 3, and you summon a Sprite Lens. That seems really weak. So obviously the power here is if you get to go for the next 2 acts, but that means that you're not doing this until turn 8, and you're not doing the act number 3 until turn 9, and that's That's a lot, right? So on Act 2, grant allies everywhere spirit. Okay, well, I was saying that this is slow, but I mean that second act is kind of crazy. You grant allies everywhere spirit. So you just buff everything in your deck, in your hand, in your field by +1/+1. Okay. And then Act 3, so again, let's say turn 9, you manifest a card that costs 8 or more, and you reduce its cost by half, rounded up. So you can manifest an 8, 9, or 10 drop. It gets its cost reduced by half, and that's it. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't think that that's anything crazy. There's a lot of bad cards that you could get here. Like I know it's a manifest, so you get a choice of 3 cards, but like there's still a lot of like dead draws that you could get from the 8, 9, and 10 cost pool. It's probably stronger in standard because in standard there's less cards to choose from, but it's still not as good as I would expect it. Now, again, the Act 2 I think is actually crazy. Grant Allies Everywhere Spirit. That's I feel like that's nuts. But the third act, it doesn't even cost 0. Like you reduce the cost by half, rounded up. So like if you get a 9 drop, it's still gonna cost you 5 mana to play it. If you get a 10 drop, 5 mana to play it. Now again, this is focus speed, so you can just use this right away, manifest, and you can play the unit right away. But it's still really odd. I don't know. I don't know. So looking at this as a whole, I like the sleep mechanic. I like Lilia, and I like what we see, what it looks to be like, what we can do with sleep. And I do like the sprite mother. And anything that summons Spriteling also looks really good, right? So Sprite Mother with Harvest, potentially Petal Pitsy can actually be kind of crazy. We've seen that the Lutz package also has a couple cards that can summon Spiritlings, right? Or Spritelings. So that can be really cool, right? So the idea is like Lulu. The idea is like Lutz Lilia that we can play. Some of these other cards I think don't look as great, but hey, I think it's a cool mechanic here, right? And I had like the sleep mechanic here open just in case that I needed to go and talk about it, but we didn't need it. So next, we're gonna actually go and talk about the new cards. And again, these are the rest of the cards that are not tied to any champions, and I haven't really looked at any of these cards, right? So let's jump ahead and talk about these cards and what I feel about each of them. So let's talk about the rest of the new cards that we're gonna get in this new expansion, and let's just go one at a time, right? Let's go one at a time, see how we feel about each of them. So the first one is gonna be a 1 mana landmark from Noxus that has story, the arena's greatest. Focus speed, again, kind of what we talked about. Act 1 and 2, so the first 2 acts are the same. You give an ally +2 this round. By the way, when you play this on turn 1, you don't have a target, so you shouldn't activate Act 1 until round 2 when you summon a unit. And then Act 3, you give an enemy can block this round. So every for the first 2 turns you give something +2, only for the round though, and then the third one. Okay, this landmark I think sucks. I just realized this is just give, not even like a grant. Yeah, no, I don't think this is playable. I don't think this is playable. All right, let's move on. Naxos can do much better than that, right? 4 mana. We have a jetty. We have another jetty. Jetty handler. Wait, this is not a jetty. Sorry, this is the handler. Oh, poor jetty. Man, why you gonna treat my jetty like this? It's a 4 mana 1/2 for Naxos. To play me, discard 1 card. When I summon an enraged jetty. So it's a 4 mana, you summon a jetty, which is a 5/5, but you have to discard a card from your hand. So it's kind of like discard support. I mean, the downside of discarding a card is not too bad in Naxos. You have a lot of discard fodder, right? So like it is expensive to have to. It's expensive as a forecast to discard 1 card, and considering that the handler doesn't have a great stat line, it's not like amazing. But I mean, the Enraged Jet is pretty nice. This card. I think this card is mid. I think this card is mid. Could be useful, but it's not like doesn't jump out at me as something that's gonna be absolutely busted. Then we have more Noxus cards here, so I guess we're gonna go through the Noxus cards first. And there is a 2 mana equipment, right? With 3/3 stat line, Blighted Battle Axe. It gives you can block, so when you put this in a unit, you won't be able to block with that unit. Run N, if my bearer didn't attack this round, grant a gloom. So you're also forced to attack every round, except that you're not attacking on the opponent's attack round, right? So slowly you're gonna start getting more glooms over and over again. It's a cheap equipment for 2 mana, but that's a big downside. Because even if you attack on your attack token every single turn, every time that your opponent, I mean, I guess honestly, like how long is that unit gonna live for? Yeah, I mean, even if you get Gloom once, you're still getting +2/+2 out of this equipment, which is still solid, right? And eventually the opponent has to kill this unit anyways, and then you just get the equipment right back and do it all over again. I actually like it. I think this equipment is solid. I think equipment is solid. I just don't know that it finds a spot in a lot of decks, unfortunately. So yeah. So now we move on to PNC, and PNC also gets a story landmark, and it's a 2 mana, the Candlelit Prayer, focus speed, one act 1 and 2, you updraft one to draw one. Alright, so this is Janus support, also Twisted Fate support for Eternal, by the way. Because you can play this, and the way I understand the story landmarks, you would choose when to activate them. So you could play this on turn two and just never activate it until you have your Jana or your Twisted Fate on the field, so that you can updraft and draw one. And then on the third one, you just draw one. So this, wait. This landmark is actually nuts, I think. This landmark is actually nuts. Because at the very least, when you finish triggering everything, you're gonna draw one. So it's like a 2 mana draw one. But the act 1 and 2 lets you fix your hand. So if you have like a really awkward hand and you have like some bricks on your hand, you can just updraft them and draw one. Updraft it and draw one. And that's very solid. Not to mention that it also, like, if you're playing this in Nila Jana, it lets you like enable a lot of your cards that require you to draw 2 cards in a turn. This is really freaking solid. Wow, yeah, this landmark is huge. Okay, I see. PNC is still gonna be a crazy region. I see. Okay, so we have another PNC card, and I haven't even read anything, but this art looks so cool. I want to see the full art of this. Soaring Cartographer. Ha, this is really cool. It looks like an eldritch horror type of thing, but it's like a cool version of it. It's a 3 mana 3/3, so good stat lines. It has brash as well, so cannot get chump block. When you play, you updraft one to draw another card that costs either more or less than the card you updrafted. Updraft one to draw another card that costs either more or less than the card you updrafted. My assumption, the fact that it says more or less, that you get to choose, right? That you get to choose whether you want to draw something that costs more or costs less, or is it just like you can draw something that costs the same? So let's say like if I updraft something that costs 4 mana, I can draw things that don't cost 4 mana. It's either that or you get the choice. Either way, regardless of which way it is, I think this card is also really good. I think this card is really good. Now it's a little bit worse than Miriam, just because Miriam gives you the option of getting that mana, right? If you don't want to just get the updraft. But you could potentially tailor your draw here. Like depending on what you depending on what you updraft, you could actually kind of tutor something specific that you want. And again, the fact that he has brash, it also means that he's a good attacker anyways. So this is bro, like why are we getting so much Neela Jana support? Like, are we just gonna get like Neela Jana literally won Worlds, Raya? Why are we giving this more support? So yeah, this guy is huge. Wow. We have an 8 mana PNC card, Mal Mutation. What happened to my Hungry Owl Cat? Oh my god. It's a slow speed spell. You pick an ally follower, summon 2 Hungry Owl Cats, then transform allies into exact copies of the chosen ally. You pick an ally follower. So I don't know. Let's say that we pick. Let's think of like the craziest unit you could pick. Let's say you pick Atakan. Let's say you pick like an Atakan, right? You pick an Atakan. You summon two hungry Owlcats, right? And then you're transforming those two Owlcats plus any other ally that you have in the field, because it doesn't say just the Owlcats, it says allies into Atakan. So you could end up with at least three Atakan, or you could end up with like six Atakan, depending how many cards you have in your field. This card sounds crazy. Like I feel like there's some crazy shenanigans that you can do with Bomb Mutation. Now, it is a slow speed card, so it can be countered by a lot of different things, right? But I think this card is crazy, especially because you can play this on turn 5 as soon as you want on turn 5. Like at the very least, if the opponent has no way to deal with this and you play this on turn 5, oh, oh my god, let's look for example, like, I don't know. Let's say for whatever reason you're playing Ionia and P&Z, right? So what happens? Oh, I guess this doesn't work because this says transform, right? This says transform, so transform is not a summon effect, right? I was trying to say like maybe you get like a bunch of value with Sprite Mother, but this says unsummon. But I'm sure there's some cards that I'm just blanking out of that I'm not thinking of that you can get a ton of value. You know what's crazy with this card? Bro. What if it's just like Nidalee package? What if it's Nidalee PNC? What if it's like Nidalee PNC or just honestly, not even that. Let's just go like we can go. We don't even have to play Nidalee, right? We can go like Shady Spectacles, right? Or oh my god, oh my gosh. You all remember that deck that I showcased like 2 months ago where it was like the Demacia PNC where you play the Shady Spectacles on your Balin? Like this could be included in there. You literally just play this thing on like your Balin, and now you end up with like a bunch of balance. And if you have like shady spectacles, you start getting some crazy shenanigans. This with shady spectacles is gonna be actually crazy. Wait, this is actually so good. I think there's some crazy stuff you can do here. Like shady spectacles can do some crazy stuff with my mutation. So I like this a lot. Okay. Yo, PNC had like a bunch of banger cards here. Oh my goodness. So then we have Shurima, and it's a story card, 2 mana story. The Emperor's Army. Act 1. Act 1. Summon 2 Sand Soldiers. Act 2. Predict. Act 3. When you summon an ally this round, give it +2/+0 this round. So the first act, summoning so you want to use this on your offensive turn, right? Then you want to use the predict on your defensive turn, and then the third act you want to use it again on your offensive turn. So it kind of ends up adding up because you do 1/1/1, right? This works if you have a lot of other like unit generation here. So let's say that you have like sand soldiers or you have like shark chariots in the field. Like let's say that you're playing a hypothetical Seer Hecarim deck, then that could actually be really crazy just how much value you can get here. Or if you play this and then you play a second one on turn 4, then you know your second one is gonna summon 2 sand soldiers that is gonna get +2/+2, right? And if you have a seer as well, so let's say you have a curve of like Emperor's Army into a seer, into a second Emperor's Army, then you're gonna end up with like a bunch of sand soldiers that can just do a lot of value, that can have a lot of value against your opponent, which can be really cool. And again, because you choose when to activate it, if you know that you're not gonna have a bunch of units getting summoned that turn, you don't have to activate this, right? I think this landmark is solid. I think this landmark is solid as well. Not something busted, but I think it could actually be really solid on what you can do with Asir stuff. Then we have Empire Reconstructor. It's a 3 mana 4/2 that has the sharp side keyword, so allows us to block elusives. Play, you grant an ally landmark. When I'm destroyed, revive me. The way I understand the story landmarks is that when you finish the third act, they destroy themselves. So if that happens, will it just get resummoned with the Empire's Reconstructor? So if that's the case, then the idea here is that you play Emperor's Army, you do Act 1. Then next turn you do Act 2, and you can play the Reconstructor in this Emperor's Army landmark. Then on turn 4, you play Act 3. It's a permanent effect for that turn where anytime you summon an ally this round, you give it +2/+2. So you play Act 3, this landmark destroyed itself, but because you gave it the Reconstructor, it resummons itself, which means that you can actually use Act 1 and summon two Sand Soldiers, which are not gonna be buffed by this +2/+0. That's really solid. That's really solid. That's actually super solid. I like this. I like that little combo there. Because now, whether you have this or you have a Seer, you're gonna get a lot of value from Act 3 of the Emperor's Army. So I really, really like this. That's really freaking dope, that combo. Okay, so a Seer gets some nice package addition. Now, 3 mana spell, Sunburst Summoning, Burst Speed. Pick one of 3 champions that started in your deck and draw it. So it's like a more expensive Entreat for Shurima, but you get to just pick, right? So the idea with this is that obviously you have a Seer, Renekton, as Nasus, and Seraph, right? The idea with this card is that it's like a Sun Disc card. You can just pick the champion that you're missing to level up the Sun Disc. Um, of course, Riot rotated Seraph and Renekton out of standard, so really you only have a Seer and Nasus to pick from. That's why it says pick one of 3 champions, so you get a choice of which one to pick. This is still really cool because again, it's like a tutor, right? It's a tutor that lets you draw champions, and it can be really nice, right? And like, yeah, you don't have any tree in standard, but now you have Sunburn Summoning, which can be really cool. Okay, it's a little bit more expensive though, so that's the downside. But I think it's a decent card. We've seen Existential Dread already, right? That's the card from Vets that you grant all enemies gloom. Um, we have also seen this, I believe, right? Iron Conquest, or maybe not. Pick an ally follower. Okay, no, we haven't seen this landmark. So Iron Conquest is a 2 mana story landmark. Pick an ally follower, create an ephemeral copy of it in hand with +1/+1. That's really good. Revive the strongest dead ally follower. Okay, no, this card is nuts. Oh my goodness. I think this card is nuts. That's a lot of fucking value for a 2 mana landmark. Excuse my French. Holy crap. Excuse my French again. Oh my goodness. Alright, alright. So you pick any ally follower that's on the field, you create an ephemeral copy of it in hand, and you give it +1/+1. And then you revive, like after you do this 2 times, you get to revive the strongest dead ally. There's a lot of crazy stuff that you can revive with this Iron Conquest card. This is so good. This is so freaking good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this card is nuts. This card is nuts. I don't know what else I can say about it. There's a lot of like really valuable things that you can do with this Iron Conquest that I can see being useful in this package. We talked about Grim just giving a unit for Gloom, but then there's also a Grim landmark here, the Beautiful Disaster, which is a story landmark. Act 1. Kill a unit with total power and health 5 or less. So it has to be total power and health 5 or less, and you kill it straight up. And then it still stays in the field. Act 2. Drain the enemy nexus by 2. Cool. So you get like a weaker Act 2. And then we come Act 3, and we come swinging. Summon an exact copy of an ally. It's ephemeral and granted +1. It's not restricted to followers. It just says ally. So you could literally like copy like a champion with this. Oh my goodness. Yo, these story landmarks are absolutely nuts. A lot of them are so crazy. Yeah, this story landmark is crazy. I like the Beautiful Disaster. It's a little bit expensive at 4. Especially because obviously we have like explorers, so that you play this for 4 and the opponent can have an explorer to remove it. But we no longer have aftershock in standard. So like you don't have to even worry about aftershock anymore. Oh my goodness, that's actually crazy landmark. Then we have Carrots, 6 mana 5/4. Whenever a non tentacle ally dies or last breath, spawn 2. So whenever a non-tentacle ally dies, you just get to spawn 2. So this just lets you get a lot of tentacles. Or when this dies, it replaces itself with 2 tentacles. That's actually a lot of solid value. Now, this card being in Shadow Owls, I don't think it's anything super crazy, I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's anything super crazy, but like this card is actually super valuable, I think. This is really, really solid. Because you get to really have like a lot of you're gonna have a really big tentacle. I just don't think you're doing much with it. I guess we can play Bilge Rat and Shao Isles with Ilawi, but I don't think that's gonna be anything like crazy. We see Vets, which again I absolutely love Vets. This champion like looks amazing to me. I can't wait to play Vets. We talked about the Uncle Milty already. Oh wait, no, this is a new card actually. Uncle Milty Impact. So he starts with Impact. Grant me 2 spirit once you have completed a story. So once you complete any story here, so let's say you go like Conquest into Story Act 3, then he's gonna grant himself 2 impact. But he needs to be on the field. I think that's a little bit too slow. This is a little bit too slow and too weak. So I don't see that being crazy. Gift we talked about, which is pretty freaking nice. Ally. 3 mana to 2/2 Jodel with impact. Bandle City. Play Grant Me Spirit or grant a unit Gloom. That's kind of cool. By the way, it's interesting that you only have the skill on the Gloom side of things, which means that you can grant her Spirit like at focus speed or at burst speed, but you can only grant Gloom at fast speed. You're passing priority back to your opponent. Uh, okay, I mean, this is a decent. I mean, actually, who am I kidding? I don't think this is crazy. We have to see how much we want to like buff stuff like this, right? Because we do have things that let you like add more stacks of your stackable keywords. So this card having both impact and spirit means that you could make it so that it has like impact 2 spirit 2 and then impact 3 spirit 3, etc., right? Like you can continue stacking the amount of stackable keywords that she can get, right? We talked about the mayor last time. We talked about the goon sprites as well, and family reunion. So then we have another landmark here from Bandle City, and it's the Winds Given. It's a 3 mana story. Act 1 and 2, you pick an ally, then pick one of 3 followers that cost 1 more to transform it into. So more transform support here. Act 3, pick an ally, then pick one of 3 followers that cost 2 or more. Okay, so this is just transforming into a more expensive ally. The fact that you got a choice of 1 and 3, between one of 3, right, means that you can definitely get some crazy high rolls from this card, right? I think this landmark is solid as well. I think it might be a little bit too slow. I think this looks solid. I think this looks solid. It has a lot of synergies with certain cards, right? Like it's like think of what's it called? Timelines, right? It is a more expensive timelines, right? But you could use this kind of like a pseudo timelines where you play a unit that has a big cost but doesn't have a good stat line and then just transform it into a unit that's more expensive. So this could be a way to kind of have like a pseudo timelines shenanigans going on. So I think this could actually be really strong. I like this. I like this. Then we have Monstrous Eruption. Yo, Bandle City is getting a lot of cards here. So it's a 3 mana burst speed card. Grow an ally's power or health to 5 this round. Eh, I guess that's okay. Am I missing something? I guess that's okay. I don't think that's anything crazy. Let's skip that. That's a boring card. Shadow we talked about. Glare we talked about. Pick champion. So now we move on to the Bilgewater cards. It's a story landmark for 2 mana. An ally, so Act 1, an ally and an enemy strike each other. They can't drop below 1 health from this strike. So this is like oh man, the Jack. This is like Jack support, right? Where you have that strike that comes from the bot suppers that just brings your units to 1 health. Then Act 2, you fully heal any ally, and then Act 3, you create 3 coins. It doesn't do anything crazy, I guess. I mean, for 2 mana though, you get a lot of value from this. So this is the thing about these story landmarks. Like even some of the ones that look a little bit weaker, you gotta think about it. You're playing this like I think this one doesn't have any crazy effects, but you're only paying 2 mana for this. You're only paying 2 mana for this, and like 2 mana, I think is very valuable to be able to play all three of these effects right here. So this is actually super dope. Uh, Even if it's weaker, I think the story keyword or vocabulary makes this a lot stronger than they sound. 3 mana, slow speed spell, mercenary manners. Steal an enemy follower with 3 or less health this round. Can't play if you have 6 allies or landmarks already. So it's a 2 mana possession, a 3 mana possession, right? There's a possession card in Shadow Isles that lets you kind of steal an enemy's follower, but this only lets you steal it with 3 or less health, right? And you steal it for the round, and then you probably just self-sacrifice it if you need to. I don't think it's gonna be playable. I think it's gonna be some funny things here, but it's not gonna be anything crazy. Eager Dedicant is a 1 mana brash 0/1. I have +1/+0 for each card you have drawn this round. This could be okay as well for Nila. I mean, this with Sunken Temple, right? Means that it's gonna be crazy, but at 1 health, it's just so easy to kill. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think that card is not really that great, right? So then we have the Louds package we already talked about, Luminous Pride, Incandescent, right? So this is what I was talking about. When you boost, right? When you boost, you get to buff every stackable keyword. So that works with the ally right here, right? Because you boost her and now she has 2 impact and 2 spirit, right? We talked about Ezreal, we talked about Spritelings, which we said how nasty the Spritelings are gonna be. Lots, 3 sprites, Light of Demacia, grant an ally spirit, grant an ally 2 spirit, boost all allies. Again, really powerful landmark here. I think this is actually super decent. Mage Seeker is crazy. Petricized Hole, 4 mana story landmark. Act 1, an ally captures a unit. Act 2, curse your opponent with suppression. Act 3, obliterate all cards captured by allies. I mean, I don't know. This doesn't seem crazy. For 4 mana, this doesn't seem crazy. Yeah, I don't think this one seems crazy. I guess there's some allies you could have that could be really big static and maybe have spell shield and you could just capture another unit. Yeah, this doesn't seem crazy to me. The Petricized Hold is not crazy. The power of this card comes from the fact that you can just drop it and not use the Act 1. Just let it sit there. So think of like Tahm Kench. The power of Tahm Kench is that you play Tahm Kench and the opponent cannot develop a unit because you can just eat up their unit, right? You can just play this and just have it sitting there so that if the opponent ever plays a unit that you want to get rid of, you can just tap the hole and capture it, right? And then after you just try to like get to the next 3 ads, so you can obliterate it before they can remove your unit. So that is the power of this. It's like a mini Tahm Kench. Is that enough to make this playable? I don't think so. A 4 mana is really expensive, so I don't know. 6 mana slow speed spell, Rising Life, boost all units 3 times. Okay, I mean this is cool. This is cool. This can be a lot, right? This can actually matter a lot because the Lutz, right, which is leveled up, if a unit gains Spirit, it gains it again. So technically, I wonder if Boost works with Lutz, right? Like, is this gonna be like a +6/+6 to your whole board when you have a leveled up Lutz? Or is it just going to be +3/+3, right? Regardless, I think this is really good as a 6 mana card that can just boost your whole board if you go really wide, especially because as we see with the Lutz package, you're probably going to have a lot of Spritelings on the field that can take advantage of this boost. So that's actually a really good card as well. Yeah, like look at the Alina, right? The Alina just lets you summon a bunch of sprites. This with the Lilia package kind of sounds kind of crazy here. So we saw the most modern Smirk, and then we got another new card here, which is Forgotten Artifact. It's a 6 mana focus piece spell. Summon a Sandstorm Charger, then give your allies Challenger this round. Was this supposed to be a Shurima card and not a Demacia card? This looks like a Shurima card. Why does this have Demacia on it? This looks like a Shurima card. For 6 mana, you get a Sandstorm Charger and you give everything. I think this card is unplayable, regardless whether it's Demacia or Shurima. It's too expensive for 6 mana, even if you get a free trade with Charger. But that definitely smells like a Shurima card rather than Demacia. Then we have a 3 mana story, the Poro Parade. Act 1 and 2. Manifest a follower that has a different subtype than allies in play. Act 3. Give an ally +1/+1 this round for each ally with a subtype. Okay, I mean, this one doesn't look anything crazy. Yeah, you manifest, you get free value from it, you get a free 2 units. But like, it's not doing anything crazy either. Again, the value from this story is that you get value after multiple rounds, but it still doesn't seem like anything crazy to me. Then we have the ultra soft Poro. So we get another Poro here, which looks freaking adorable. You see how cute this is? I want to pet him. I want to pet the Poro. 3 mana, 3/3, Freljord. Play, heal your Nexus 1 for each ally with a subtype. Okay, well, it's not a great card. It's not a great card. I guess this is like a Warding of the Tribe card, right? Like you can technically play this card and the Poro in Warding of the Tribes and just have all these different archetypes to then play Warden. Still doesn't seem like anything crazy. Like you wouldn't play this on Poro King, right? Because you don't have a lot of different subtypes. You have just a lot of Poros. So that's disappointing, but it is what it is. Not every card can be good. Then we have a 3 mana slow speed spell, Glacial Fell. Grant an ally health equal to its power and formidable, then set its power to 0. So you're switching the stat lines pretty much. You grant an ally your health equal to the power. So let's say that I have an 8 power unit. I can add that 8 power to my health and grant formidable, and I lose my power stat line, but now I have like a big formidable unit. It's too cheesy. It's too expensive at 3 mana. I don't think this is playable either. I can't think of a reason for you to do this, right? Because especially because it's a slow speed spell, means that that people can react to this. And if you have a unit that has like a really high power but really low health, then they can just remove it with removal, right? So I don't think this is going to be playable either. Then we have a 3 mana unit and Brimhair Thunder Song. 3/3/3. Play. Obliterate a unit in hand to summon a Stormcar sprite that has countdown equal to its cost and summons an exact copy of the this is the card. This is the card that we got from uh, the community kitchen, right? Where we like built the community kitchen. This is the card that we built as a community. So the way that you play this card, right? It's like, let's say that you have, I don't know, let's say you have an Atakan. I don't know why I keep coming back to Atakan. Let's say you have an Atakan in your hand. You can play this bring here, select your Atakan from your hand, you obliterate it from your hand, and you summon a landmark that's called Stormcar Spire that has countdown equal to 9, 10. I forgot how much Atakan costs. Whatever. Let's say it's 10. Has countdown 10, and when that countdown 10 goes to 0, you get to summon the Atakan, right? So the idea here is that you can cheat out these really expensive units if you play an archetype that can reduce the countdown of that landmark. So this is a cool card. I don't know that it's crazy powerful, but I can see some meme game, some decks that can actually abuse this pretty nicely. Then we have the Blooming Bud, which we talked about, which is just leaves a unit. Uh, yeah, with the Drowsy Dewdrop, it's a 2 mana landmark, right? They count down one, summon a, so that's the sleep, right? That's the sleep landmark, right? The Gardener, Sprite Mother, Harvest, the Root Bump Path is a 4 mana story from Ionia. Act 1 and 2, you just draw. Act 3, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1 this round. I think this is actually good as well. I mean, you get to draw two, so it's a 4 mana draw two, pretty much, assuming that the opponent doesn't remove it, and then you just get to reduce everything. Uh, I think it might be a little bit expensive though, so I don't know that it fits what Iona is trying to do. So we'll see how that actually works. We'll see how that actually ends up working out for us. Oh, I have like a sore throat now. Let's try to finish this here quickly. We have Lilia, we have Mr. Root. When I summon, draw one, and it has Spirit, so it's a 2 mana draw one. Could be anything. Pedal Pizza, Sprite Dance. Heart of the Tree. Heart of the Tree is a 7 mana story. Act 1, heal your Nexus 3 and summon Spriteness. Oh yeah, we talked about this already. Well, I completely forgot that we talked about this already. So we talked about it already. Then we have Steel Gale, Ionia, Fast Speed, stun an enemy, and stun it again. Okay, this is why they got rid of Concussive Palm. Wait, is that Johnny? Is that John? Like the actual League of Legends version of it? Steel Gale, stun an enemy. So you get two stuns. I mean, this is really good for Yasuo. That's why Yasuo come back into a standard. And this is also why we got rid of Concussive Palm, because you can just play Steel Gale instead. Alright. This is a really good card. This is a really, really good card. Yeah, you're gonna miss the unit from Palm, but the fact that this stuns the unit twice can be really cool in certain situations. Then we have the Small Scale Host, which is a 5 mana target story landmark. Act 1 and 2, to activate, you discard one card, you invoke a Celestial card that costs 7 or more. Act 3, reduce the cost of a random card in hand by 5. Hmm. So you're like getting your hand smaller by discarding cards while invoking a Celestial, and then I guess the hope is that you're able to kind of reduce the cost of like the 10 mana spell, right, by 5 and just get value from it. This is too expensive. This is too expensive. Both the discard aspect and just the cost of the landmark. It could be good in Eternal though, I guess, where you can play like Aphelios Victor or like, Targon P&Z and you have discard fodder. It still seems too expensive to me. Then we have the Veil of Lessons, which we talked about. Grant an ally 2 spirit. That could be decent, I guess. Eh. And then the last card, 3 mana Dragonstone Dreamer. Each round, the first thing you invoke, summon a Dragon Link. So it's like an Eye of the Dragon. It's like an Eye of the Dragon. That's actually really good. But I mean, Target has a lot of ways to keep itself healthy with like Cosmic Jungling that I don't think is gonna be anything crazy. So these are our new cards, and at a glance, I think all three champions are really powerful. I think Lutz, Vets, and Lilia are really powerful. And because of that, I think the regions that are benefiting the most from this last expansion are going to be Ionia, Demacia, and Shadow Isles. I do think a lot of the story landmarks look really, really freaking good, especially the Iron Conquest, right? Um, like, these story landmarks all look really, really good, in my opinion. Uh, so we have a lot of cool cards here to play around with. I think this Shurima package also looks really cool. The Gloom, I'm in love with Gloom. Yeah, I mean the Windsgiven is giving me some very nice ideas of trying stuff out, right? Uh, we see the PNC cards that we talked about earlier. Like these PNC cards are nuts. Malmutation, Soaring Cartography, and Prayer are absolutely crazy. Like this whole expansion looks really cool, except for Frelia. I think Frelia got the short end of the stick. I think Frelia is going to be really bad. I think Targon didn't get anything crazy either. So we'll see how that goes. But that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. It was a long one because I don't have two screens. I can't even see how much I recorded for. So if you like our content, make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post card game videos every single day. We're going to be playing just Runeterra this whole week though, since we have the new expansion. So make sure to subscribe to us to keep up to date with that. You can also join our channel and become a member. We have 2 tiers, Gladiators and Champions. You can find that out in the description below or in the link button next to the subscription button. I love pets. You can also find us on Twitch at Twitch every now and then, and you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.